Hello again. This is Sir David the Bard, Mr. Cockroach, actually Mr. Cock. You can call me any of those things. As you know, my ex-wives have many other names that are even worse than that. I want to do a video today. Today is about the 1st of December in 2024. I used to not put the dates on because I thought I was going to live forever. But anyway, the more dates you hear, the more you know it's going to be soon. I'll be on the other side. I wanted to do this video today, and again, I just have to be honest. I'm just sitting in my chair, and this voice comes in and goes, "Hey, yes sir, yes sir." You know, yes. I want you to do another video. Oh God, another video. Do I have to humiliate myself? Like, yes you do. I go, okay, Lord, whatever you want, I will go and do the things that the Lord has commanded me. So he said, I want you to do this video on the rotten to the core. That's going to be the name of this video, Rotten to the Core. Now, here's what the video is about. I was years ago, I'm 77 now, and now I'm 77 and 1 hour older than I was on the other video. I went to BYU, and I somehow graduated from BYU, much to the chagrin of the Mormon Church. And to me, there were some walls, some hoops, and there were some obstacles for the administration for me. Anyway, let that be on the side. This is one of the periods that I want to report. I was married. I'm going to give her first name because I don't give a shit. I can say whatever I want. My first wife, a sweet girl, Janice. Janice went to BYU, and Janice and I were on the ballroom dance team. She was good. I was a shithead. But I got on the team, and I went to the practices, and there was a man named Ben de Hoyos. Ben was fabulous in Latin American dancing. He'd just come out of Mexico. I don't know if he jumped over the border. I don't know how he got into America, but he was hired by BYU. Fabulous dance instructor, Latin American dance instructor. So I signed up, paid my money to the cult for the class, and went over to the Richards building there, and we had ballroom dance practice all the time. Sometimes we danced until our feet bled. But anyway, Ben de Hoyos was the teacher, and there must have been, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 of us in the class, and we would be against the wall, and there'd be mirrors all against the wall, and he'd be out front, and he would be teaching the dance steps. Well, he had an assistant. Her name was Janice. Jesus, I'm so embarrassed. You know, I'm glad I'll be dead. And all you people will go, we never knew him. I don't know, I didn't go to the earth. Hell no, I was somewhere else. I don't know who that guy was. Her name was Janice, and she was an attractive girl. She had blonde hair, blue eyes, and Ben chose her to be his dance partner, teaching the ballroom dance team. So I would watch Ben and learn from him, and then I would watch Janice and go, you know how men see and think. God, I wish her panties would drop off. No, anyway, I was at BYU. I didn't think about panties in those days. I've thought about nothing but panties ever since then. So I saw Janice dancing, and she was cute. She was attractive, conservative. Young lady, and very good. She knew how to dance, and I didn't. I was trying to fake it till I made it, but I never made it. I just faked it. So anyway, I saw her, and I thought, well, you know, maybe that's a girl for me. I don't know. So we started dating, and we went out a couple of times and got along. We spent a lot of time dancing together, and we had that in common, and I was pretty good at Latin American and social dancing, but international dancing, I couldn't do shit. International waltz, foxtrot, merengue, some of those other dances she was really good at. And when we were dancing on the team, now I wasn't a good one. I never went international. I never got on the bus and went anywhere. I was like third string. Like if the bus and the whole planet burned down, they go, David, you and your group come up and dance for this group. Okay, I'm third string. So anyway, she used to whisper in my ear. We'd be dancing and looking really fancy and, you know, kind of waving our antenna, broadcasting how clever we looked. And in those days, God, I had hair, and I didn't have a gut, and my butt wasn't like, you know, the Goodyear blimp. And she was cute. She was a typical BYU girl. She's probably 107 pounds and cute little figure and everything. And so when we danced together, she would go, okay, left foot, now right foot, now bend down, now stand up, now turn. She would whisper, and I'd just be a robot doing the things she said because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So anyway, we dated, and we got together and got married, and we had our first child. I'll name her Michelle. I named Michelle Shireen, after the Beach Boys, or after the Beatles. Michelle My Belle, that was a very famous song back when she was born. And I used to be a glazer, putting windows in Provo while I was going to BYU. I wasn't Mitt Romney pulling coupons off of stock returns and paying my tuition. I had to actually fucking work like a white man. Anyway, I was doing a window in a kitchen outside. I was on a ladder outside looking through the window over the sink, putting in the kitchen sink. And there was a little girl sitting on the sink, and a tiny little thing, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, watching me from the inside put the window in. She was only this far away from me. And I said, hi, how are you? I'm fine. I said, well, what's your name? And she said, Michelle Shireen. I said, Michelle Shireen? I said, that's a fabulous name. It's very, very beautiful. And that stuck with me. And so when my daughter, Michelle, was born, we named her Michelle Shireen, and a very beautiful name. So anyway, we had that baby, and then I was at BYU, and I was matriculating, if you want to call it that. I was matriculating like a turtle or a snail. You know, I'd be in one semester and I'd have to run and get money in California, come back and pay the cult more money, and then go back to California, sleep on my parents' floor, and get more money and go back. So anyway, I was persistent, and I did get a degree. Well, we did have then another baby, beautiful little girl, Nicole Monique. Michelle Shireen, Nicole Monique. And Nicole had some baby problems. I had to give her a lot of shots. She was sick and had a heart murmur, but she wasn't handicapped in any way. So anyway, a long story short, Brigham Young University came to me and said, gee, you know, would you like to maybe work here in the recreation department? We know you don't know shit about dance, but this is nepotism. Oh God, it's Mormonism, nepotism. I didn't have any parents or anybody in authority, but somehow I landed a job in the recreation department, and I was there, I don't know, year and a half, and I taught Latin American dance, I taught social dance, a little square dance, several dance classes, and I would teach, oh, I don't know, 4 units a day over in the Wilkinson Center up on the second floor where the wood floors were and everything. So I really had a lot of interaction with students. See, I was married, and I was probably maybe by now, I don't know, maybe 20, 21, and my students were coming in at 18, 19 years old, freshmen. And being a dance teacher, you always have to have a female dance partner so that the girls can see that she's doing things backwards and I'm doing things forward for the boys. When you're a good teacher, which I was a little bit, I could do the girls' part too. I could dance the boys' part, teach the boys, turn around, do the girls' part. But I'm so embarrassed. There's only two weaknesses that I have. I'm perfect everywhere else in my life. Beautiful women and fast cars. Well, they didn't have any fast cars in my dance class. Betty showed up. I'm 77 and my heart beats a little bit even faster today. If it beats any faster, the quad bypass is going to fall out of my chest. Anyway, Betty was the cutest damn little thing you ever saw. She had long hair, and she sometimes wore them in ponytails and sometimes dogtails. And she was a freshman, very innocent, and wanted to learn how to dance and acclimate to BYU and find boyfriends and, you know, get a degree and find somebody to marry. I had hundreds, maybe even thousands of girls that came through my classes, and some of them were attractive, but there's certain girls with me, there's just 2 or 3 out of thousands that I'm attracted to. The others are beautiful, yeah, I'd love to see them all naked, but there's a couple that show up and I go, I gotta have that. Well, when Betty showed up, I gotta have that. Now, I'm married. Janice is probably 7 or 8 months pregnant with Nicole. And Janice used to come to my classes sometime and play the record player so that, you know, the students could dance, and she would listen and help me be a teacher. Well, these certain classes Betty signed up for, and she would show up and I would say to her, you know, do you want to be my dance partner? And, oh yeah, see. I feel bad about that when I say that, because I should have known better. I was married. I was 20-ish. She was tiny, brand new, a child. And it's almost quasi-child molestation. When you have a girl that is basically out of high school and in college and everything is new and she's so excited and whatever, and a BYU dance teacher says, hey, you want to be my partner? You know, she's going to fall down and worship you, and I took advantage of that. I'm ashamed to say that, but I took advantage of it. I was very able to be resistant to thousands and thousands of girls. Never even occurred to me to have anything but a dance partner. But Betty was different, and we danced a lot. And as a dance teacher, I don't know if I can explain this. Some of you, a few of you will understand that, most won't. But when I see a woman dancing or moving, because I'm trained and because I have choreography ability and an ability to see what that movement could look like choreographed, when she moved like a little princess. And there's times, not often, but there's times in dance situations where you're dancing with somebody. My second wife was like this, Janet. When I would pull Betty in close to me, there was some kind of electrical chemistry. I can't even describe it. She knew where I was going to move, how I was going to move, how strong it was going to be, to the left, to the right, up, down, syncopations, choreographed perfectly with the music. It was like one person. Well, you can see where this is going, can't you? Especially the women. They're grabbing their husbands saying, he's an ass, listen to that ass. I can see it right now. So, yeah, I know gender very well. And I like the other gender much better than my gender. Anyway, BYU saw us having a little bit of talent, and the administration came to us and said, gee, we have some competition in Salt Lake City. Would you two like to go up and enter into some competitive dance in Salt Lake City? Now again, everybody has to take their set of the responsibility. BYU should have never said to me as an employee, would you like to take your newfound girlfriend to Salt Lake City and dance with her and be in motels and change costumes and have that intimate kind of a relationship going on? They should have known better. They didn't, and I was young and stupid, and I should have known better. Well, We went up to Salt Lake, we danced, and then, of course, you know, we stopped and get a pizza going home, and we would sit at the motel or table or at the picnic table outside and talk, and you know how that shit goes. You know, I'm not talking to children here. You spend time, you get locked in an elevator with a 700-pound woman that has 9 vaginas, is blind and deaf, and is ugly as a mud fence. After, you know, 24 hours, she's going to look like Marie Osmond. That's just life. That's just human beings. When you put them in close proximity like that, and they talk, and they're on the phone, or they're, these days, texting, or they're, you know, sending pictures, etc. That's going to go to shit. That's going to ruin your life. And it ruined my life, and it ruined the life of Janice and my 2 girls. Now, I have to take some of that responsibility. I was a father. I was a husband. I loved dance. That was high motivation. Well, it was part motivation. She was so cute. She was darling. That was a lot of the motivation. And my wife was 7 or 8 months pregnant. I hate to admit that, but you know, I love women that are 3, 4, 5 months pregnant, but God, at 8 or 9 months, you know, you're dancing with the Goodyear blimp. Anyway, the fact of the matter was, my wife, Janice, was a very faithful woman. She was a good woman. She was a good mother and a good woman. She just married an ass. I didn't know that at the time, and she didn't either, or she would have said, fuck you, I'm out of here. She did after we got divorced. She said, fuck you, I'm out of here. But anyway, Janice was working at D's. You don't even know what D's is. It was like McDonald's back in the years at Provo. At the D's hamburger place, right below the entrance to the campus there at BYU. She went to work every day for 7 or 8 hours trying to help the family and support it. I was teaching at BYU with the dance classes. Well, if you watch my videos, you're going to sit down. I had an idea. Jesus Christ. When bipolar people, and especially David, the Bard, has an idea, it's going to be a fucking catastrophe. And it was. So I said to Betty, gee, you know, my house is over here, and it's only a few miles here from the campus. Maybe you'd like to come over, and my family's not home right now. We'll be alone, was the implication. And, you know, maybe you'd be interested in coming over and seeing how a good dance teacher lives. Jesus, I'm so embarrassed. But the Lord asked me to confess. I never confessed to a bishop. Anyway, I'm confessing to you. And they can't excommunicate me now because I resigned 20 years ago. So she goes, okay, see, innocence. And I feel bad. When I say that, it emotionally hits me because it's abhorring to me for anybody, male or female, but mostly males, to take advantage of innocence, of curiosity. Gee, I'm going to buy you a candy bar. Here, I'm going to buy you a car. Here, you know, that's evil. That is solid fucking evil. I don't care how you turn it and twist it. Well, she's innocent. Okay, sure, I'll come over to your house. Okay. Well, I'd never been involved in anything like that before or after. She came over, and we kind of sat around the kitchen and the dining room and whatever. And I don't know how this shit happens. You know more about this than I do. Somehow we made it to the bedroom. Now, I don't know if we were inspired. I don't know if we were drunk. We didn't have any drinks. I don't know if we gravitated, floated to, or I dragged her like a caveman with her hair to the bedroom. Well, anyway, we got on the bed, and we started kissing and making out. And I'm going, well, at this time, I'm not thinking at all. My brain is below my belt. My brain is now below my belt. And my brain doesn't say, you know, this is immoral. My brain doesn't say, you are betraying your family. and your wife. My brain didn't say you are reflecting on Brigham Young University. You're a dance teacher. You're LDS. You promised, to be morally clean and to represent the university properly. And you've got this young thing in bed, and you're humping on her, and you came in your pants. And I go, well, huh. So I took her back to school. Well, being the person that I am, that was part of the person that I was then, I went home and I felt guilty, and I felt that I needed to say something to my wife. I didn't want to be I was behind the 8 ball, believe me. So I said to Janice, what happened? Well, she sat over in the corner of the kitchen, just was crying and screaming, pulling her hair, going insane. And that surprised me a little bit because I was stupid. I didn't really know what I had done. I didn't understand the consequences. And males were stupid that way. You know, the female can clearly see this is a clusterfuck. This is going to have some problems, and it did. It's been, 70 years of nothing but problems. So anyway, the next day she started talking about a divorce. And I thought, well, okay. Again, I'm stupid, young, and we filed for a divorce on Wednesday. 2 days later, it was final. Only the bar could pull that shit off in Utah. In those days, there had to be a 6-month waiting period for finalization after the filing, but we lied to the court that we had been apart for 6 months. So the court immediately granted that divorce. Well, any of you that have been in divorce, you were looking at this video and going, God damn, he's bringing up 1,000 triggers. Everything, you lose your car, you lose your house. Let me put a sidelight in here. So after the divorce, I had an idea. Betty lived in Colorado. So I thought, well, I think now that I'm free, I think I'll drive to Colorado. Just say hi to her, meet her family. I was stupid. I showed up, and she came outside and said, my dad wants to talk to you. I go, oh, maybe he thinks I'm a good catch. Maybe he thinks that divorcing my wife and being a BYU teacher and being 3 or 4 years older than his daughter, he's going to fall down and beg me to give her a chance at marriage. Well, that's not really what happened. A long story short, he said, get the fuck out of here. Don't talk to my daughter. Don't be around my daughter. I'm going to get my shotgun. It went on and on. So I thought, well, that didn't go over really well, if you know what I mean. So, now, here. Rotten to the core. How does that fit in? As a counselor, I've had thousands of people that I've counseled with, and since then, and whatever. There are some people that are rotten to the core. They're not going to change. They're liars, they're cheaters, they're scammers, they're drug addicts, they're alcoholics, they're bumps, they don't want to work, they have no motivation, they want to scam people, they love pyramids, they love not working, they're bumps. Yeah, they're human. Yeah, they're human. But there's a difference between a brick of gold and a brick. And some of these people are just plain bricks. So a lot of times in counseling, people have come to me and there's been some infidelity. I didn't have intercourse with this young woman. I just, humped her and came in my pants, and, that was the end of that situation. But it has a ripple effect, if you know what I mean. Here we are, 60 years later, it's still rippling out. The good things ripple out, the bad things ripple out. So people will say to me in counseling, well, do you think I should divorce him? Or she did this or she did that. And I want to break up. I want a divorce. They're not going to change. Here's what I've learned, for whatever good it does anybody. If a person is indeed rotten to the core, they're toxic, get the hell away from them. The sooner, the better, the further and the longer you can run, the better. But making that judgment is hard. Now, I made a mistake, a serious mistake, a very serious mistake. Gross. Ruined my life at that time, and the other three, Michelle and Nicole and Janice, it ruined their lives, basically the rest of their lives. Now, Christ gave us a good example of the woman who was caught in adultery, and the town wanted to stone her, and Christ, of course, said, you know, he who is without sin cast the first stone, and then he said, you know, where are thy accusers? They all left because they had skeletons in their closet. And he simply said to her, go and sin no more. She wasn't rotten to the core. I think Christ saw that, and Christ gave that to us as an example to judge correctly. Judge correctly. The age, the gender, the circumstances, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the physical, the financial, all wrapped around the event. We have to put those all in the formula to say, is this person rotten to the core? I believe very strongly, I could change tomorrow, but I believe at this point, I believe that the core person never changes. The core person is the core person. They're not going to change. But now it's like the core of a body. You can put arms on a core. You can put legs. It can now walk, it can now move. So the principle I'm trying to allude to here is that if the core person is indeed a brick and not a brick of gold, it's toxic. Get the hell away. But be careful, because sometimes what comes around does go around. There seems to be some principle there that is eternal. If we make snap judgments many times, those kinds of judgments can come back and haunt us forever. So I think what we need to do is take all of the pieces of that puzzle around that event and evaluate it objectively, factual, not our emotion, not what we think, not what the church has trained us, not anything. Look at each one of the facts, and then you and I be responsible and say, John, can that person change? Given the opportunity and an even playing field and an opportunity to repent, I hate that word, that they can reorganize themselves, their morals, their standards. If there's hope for that, I really think the principles of Christ cause us to lean on giving them another chance. Now I know, because I've dealt with a lot of females in counseling and a lot of males in counseling, the females are much more willing to forgive. They never forget. Don't ever kid yourself. She'll say, well, in 1826 at 2:30 in the morning, on the third step, you left that, you know, women, they forgive, but they don't forget. Men, they're more of an aberration. A man is not that predictable, whether he'll forgive or forget. We're hunters, you know. Some of us will hunt down paramours, and some of us say, no, you're out. The door is gone. I don't want your ass in here anymore. Other men will go, all right, well, you said you wouldn't do it. This is your 32nd time. With the 33rd, will you stop? Men are much more indiscriminate. It's hard to predict on that gender what they're going to do. But the point that I'm making is if the core person is shit, then flush them. Just flush them. But if they're young, like I was, they were stupid, like I was, they're naive, like I was, that basically I never had a position where I was important on campus. Oh, he's a professor. Oh, he works for BYU. Oh, he's important. I never had been inflated that way. That was all new information to me, and it went to my head, and it went to the other head this time. So you have to put together, I think, we, not you, me and you and the rest of us have to put together the entire situation and evaluate. Now, here's what I would suggest. I'm saying as a counselor, 2 master's degrees, as a counselor, I would rather err on the side of forgiving. Now, I have a saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I sue you. Important principle. I'll forgive once, but twice or 3 times, now I'm saying, God, no. We all have to learn to say no. That's the most powerful word in the human language, no. So, if you find yourself, your mate, your girlfriend, whatever your gender, your sexual orientation, those emotions are all there, whether you're a lesbian, you're gay, you're transgender, millennial, or whatever. Those are all human emotions. If you have humility yourself, and you're a follower of our Heavenly Father, He said forgive 70 times 70. I think that's going too far. That's what He says, and the Bard is saying that may be going too much. Believe Him, believe me, take your choice. I think giving a person at least one chance. I would rather err that way and see if it was just a stupid, drunken state, or drug stupid this, or locked in an elevator for 3 days, or you're trapped in a submarine and you couldn't get out, and the BYU cheerleader team was in there with you and you were the only man and they all wanted to have a baby. I think we have to evaluate. And I, as a counselor, I would say I would lean on the side of forgiving at least once. Now it's up to you. Maybe you want to forgive 2, 3, 5, 70 times 70. I think that has to be individual. But to just slam the damn door with one indiscretion, even though it could be a gross indiscretion, I think shows a lack of wisdom, a lack of experience, a lack of knowledge. And if our egos are so weak that we just have to chop off the head the first time somebody looks at somebody else, or somebody, has some kind of a innuendo of interest in somebody else, to cut her head off of that person right then and there, I think will come back to bite us on the butt. I really do. I think that will come back to bite us. And, it ruins children's lives. It ruins the spouse, the grandparents, the great-grandparents, the grandchildren. It's a ripple that goes out. That's an important rock that you would throw and I throw in the pond. How we want that to ripple through the eternities. It caused a divorce. It caused, estranged feelings between me and the children still today. 77 years old. Those children and I don't really communicate. So, I'm telling this story to try to illustrate, if a person is rotten to the core, screw them. Flush them. If they're a piece of shit, flush them. They're toxic, they're going to ruin your life. You have a right to protect yourself. But if you're 18, 19, 20, 24, even late 20s, they should know better. But these younger people, they're stupid. They're totally, they have no experience. All they have is a vagina that's as wet as the Pacific Ocean, and a dick a mile long, and that makes a lot of their decisions for them, and they will make mistakes. Now, I have a principle that I teach very strongly in my counseling, and that is, we all make mistakes. Now, be careful. Be careful. We make one mistake. If we make the same mistake twice, we're an idiot. We're a fool, and people should shit on us. That's the way I counsel. I make mistakes once. I never do it again. I implement that into my life, into my finances, my morality, into my relationships, and that's it. So when people say to you and me, oh, nobody's perfect, we all make mistakes, That is a cover-up for bullshit. We are on a learning curve. We will make misjudgments. That's a mistake. Misjudgment is a mistake. We can correct that. We have to take responsibility. We have to make restitution. And we have to be responsible to ourselves. Don't repeat it. When I did AA counseling, the big book, the blue book, insanity in AA is defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Brilliant. Insanity. So, if you stand behind, oh, nobody's perfect, oh, we all make mistakes, and that's your excuse for being a 14-karat asshole, fuck you. Your friends, your wife, your husband, your children should put you down the road. It is fair to say, gee, I made a misjudgment, I did make a mistake. I'm going to correct that mistake and I won't be doing it again. That's the kind of a human being I kind of want to be around. That's a person that's gaining experience, they're taking responsibility, they're developing wisdom, and they're humble. There's a lot of qualities there that I like. Now let me give you somewhat the end of this story. The end might be lightning when it comes, I don't know. My wife, my second wife, Jeannie, the cheerleader, beautiful girl. Oh my God, I've been blessed. Beautiful girl, cheerleader. Basically, Jeannie and I went to a dance in Oklahoma at the church, Mormon church. We were in the rec hall. And I was, talking to people and dancing with Jeannie, my wife, and pretty soon I had my back turned, and Jeannie said, oh, David, I want you to meet my best friend, Deanie. I turned around, like an 18-wheeler ran me over. There was a response between Deanie and I that was unbelievable. I mean, I was a total giant erection and she was a huge wet vagina. We wanted to dance. Now, I'd had this other experience with Betty that pulled the trigger. Did I learn? Was I rotten to the core? I knew that Deanie and I would hit it off in a minute. We could have gone out in the parking lot and populated a world. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and then Deanie said, well, David, they have a kissing booth here in the dance in the auditorium, and I'm running the kissing booth. Maybe you'd like to visit the booth. I said, God dang, I would. But then I learned the wisdom, the experience. I wasn't rotten to the core. Came to me and said, David, this ain't your first rodeo. You've ridden this horse before, if you know what I mean. And you got bucked off. You ruined 3 people's lives and your own. You made a fool of yourself. You embarrassed the university. You scared an innocent student to death and her parents that they would think you would hook up with her. You want to go down that road again? I said, no. No. I'm not rotten to the core. I made a mistake, a serious mistake, betrayal, ruined people's lives, a judgment that, was like murdering 3 or 4 people. A terrible mistake. So, Deanie went to the kissing booth, and I watched, if you know what I mean. Oh, Jesus. I turned to my wife, Jeannie, and I said, Jeannie, we're leaving. What do you mean? The dance just started. I said, no, we're leaving. Well, I don't understand. I said, well, you really probably never will understand unless she sees this video, which she throws the videos in the toilet and flushes them as quick as she can, being an ex-wife. She's going to be one of the ones that pees on my tombstone. So we left. I never heard, talked to, or saw Deanie ever again. Jeannie continued to be her friend. But I never talked to her, I never went to her house, I never was there again, because I wasn't rotten to the core. I made a terrible mistake. So I don't know if that's going to help anybody. I don't know if that story is going to relate to anybody. 50% of the marriages in the United States go bad. And most of that, some of it's over money, but most of it's over infidelity and people hooking up with other people. So I think we need to give each other hope. I think that we need to reach down to, like Christ did the prostitute, and say to a mate that's hurt us deeply, cut us deeply, go and sin no more. Now, here's what I found, and I want to be very honest, and I'm just giving you my experience. This may be bullshit. It may not be true at all. You decide for yourself. I have found that boys, but mostly girls, that have been raped or molested never get over it. It's a trigger there forever. It's like an abortion. You know, everybody has a different take on this, but I'm a counselor, and I've seen and counseled many women who've had an abortion. It's so traumatizing, it's a trigger, and it never goes away. Now, as a counselor, am I saying, oh, they're ruined for life, they'll never be good in bed sexually, they can't get along with a husband? No, I'm not saying any of that at all. But what I am saying is that any little girl that has been molested or raped, the way you touch her, the way you talk to her, she is full of triggers that are never going to go away. They're never going to go away. Yeah, they'll go to the back of her mind a little bit as years go on, and as she gets more trust and more compatibility with her new partner, they will fade, but they will never disappear. So when you touch her, when you talk to her, your inflection, your voice, your volume, the time of the day, the lights in the room, she wants it always dark, she never wants it dark, she doesn't like that song, she doesn't like that music. There's a million triggers in there that have traumatized this little human being. And when she grows into being a woman, and now you've got her on her back in bed, and you think she's going to put out and scream and yell, and you're going to bring the bedboard against the wall until the drywall falls off, you have to be more understanding. You have to be more patient. You have to be more cautious. And you have to take I'm talking about girls now, in her totality. In her totality. You have to respect and understand what she's been through. You'll never understand it. You know, I was in 6th grade and I wanted my 6th grade teacher to rape me every damn day. You know, I was begging for her to rape me. You know, boys are a little different. So, a little girl that has been traumatized that way, those triggers are there forever. As you work with her, as she gets more trained with you, more trust, more wisdom, more experience, that you've turned her and her mind around sexually, that you're not triggering, that, oh, I remember this happened, the lights were on, that music was playing, that smell of bread, all those triggers are in her little brain. You're going to have to be, as a husband and a male partner, very patient, very understanding, and communication between the two of you is essential. If you don't have good communication, that's going to be a divorce, eventually. 3 years, 5 years, 18, 20 years. It's going to be a divorce. She has to say to you, these are my triggers. And he has to say, okay, let's talk about those triggers. I'm not that same person. I'm not going to say those things. I'm not going to touch you this way, speak to you this way, etc. So that is a very complex dynamics. So going back to the end of my video here, and you know, I tell a short story always long. If you're rotten to the core, and you have a person who's rotten to the core, it's toxic. There's a saying, revenge is like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die. Will Rogers said, men learn 3 ways only. They go to school, They read books. They pee on an electric fence. I don't want to pee on an electric fence. Maybe you do, I don't. Einstein said, the universe and stupidity are infinite. And I'm not that sure about the universe. Ron White, the comedian, says, you can't fix stupid. You cannot fix stupid. As humans, we have to put all of this information in a salad bowl in our brain and look at the relationship we're in, look at the person, look at the history, look at their family, look at their finances, their moral, their spiritual, their background, their experiences, and we have to just decide, are they rotten to the core? Or should we forgive? We may never forget, it will fade. Triggers will be there. But if he screwed around at the office with a secretary, and now he only has male secretaries, that shows a little bit of mistake that has been fixed. I never had any affair since. I've never had any before. All of my girlfriends before BYU I was true to, and all after Betty I've been true to. I've never called anyone. You can look at my phone and text. You people that hide that shit in your phone, you're pretty much rotten to the core. If you're going behind the back of a person that you say you love, that you've had a baby with, that you have sex with at night, and you're both in another world, and you turn around and you text, or you're looking with your binoculars, at the other condo bedroom window, you're rotten to the core. But we have to be forgiving of ourselves. We have to be forgiving of others. And no, there's nobody perfect, but we want to be as perfect as we can. Now let me leave this video with this. 2 words. You know me now. The less the words, the more the truth. People who give you millions of words are lying to you. The truth usually comes in 1 or 2 words. I'm sorry. I hate those 2 words. I'm sorry. Here's what that means. Now it's a simple 2 phrases, or 2 words in a phrase. But here is the connotation today, and it's been this way, probably will continue to be this way in the English dialect and language evolution. When a person says to you, I'm sorry, I say now to people on the phone and people that are my plumbers and oh, I'm sorry. I learned a very important lesson on this. I made a mistake when I was working with my son in a delivery business, and I screwed up. And I said to him on the phone, gee, Dan, I'm sorry. He said, okay, what are you going to do to see this never happens again? Out of the mouths of babes. Oh. See, when humans say, I'm sorry, here's what they're saying to you. I'm stupid. I'm irresponsible. I'm uneducated. I didn't do my homework. I've been careless. I didn't really consider your feelings, and basically I want you to carte blanche forgive me for being such a bitch or an asshole to you, because I'm saying this not because I'm sincere, but I'm saying this because I want to keep my job, or I'm saying this because I have a motivation for myself. I didn't give a shit about you when I did this, and I don't give a shit about you now, and you are required, you're required to forgive me because I say 2 words to you. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. And they've ripped your head off, they've ripped off your penis, they've wrecked your car, they burned your house to the ground, the insurance didn't pay, they ripped the brain out of your baby during brain surgery. Oh, I'm sorry. Be careful. I don't believe in I'm sorry. When people say that to me these days, in my old age, I can say shit. When you're old, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Because, oh, he's old, he's stupid. But anyway, I say to people, I charge $1,000 a word. Which is I am, but I'm going to count it as one word. Sorry, 2 words. You owe me $2,000. Or you can say, gee, I made a mistake, David. How can I fix it? And I'll make sure it never happens again to you or anybody else. Now I'm happy. Now I feel the principles of Christ improving us. No, we're not perfect yet, but damn, we're getting close there. We're getting close. So when people say, I'm sorry, I basically say, fuck you. You're not sorry. You wouldn't have done this to me if you were sorry. But if you're really repentant, I hate that word, if you're really trying to make restitution, if you're really trying to repair the situation, tell me you made a mistake in judgment. Basically, you're going to fix that. You're going to try to put me back together the best way you can, and then you're going to treat me different in the future, and everybody else in this situation you come to the rest of your life, you're going to make sure you have this piece of wisdom and don't treat them this way ever again. So, rotten to the core, I'm going to say there's a lot more rotten to the core than you want to believe. I was naive. I'm growing up. I'm 77 years old. I'm growing up. I've just been watching YouTube on stupidity. A man in about 1977 wrote a treatise, a book. It wasn't a book, it was an essay on stupidity. He has an entire theory on stupidity, and it's now integrated into psychology and seems to have true principles. I used to think years ago, right until the last 5 or 6 years of my life, even into my early 70s, that most people were honest. They're sincere, they're kind, they're loving, they're compassionate. I used to want to believe that, and I did. I was stupid and I was naive. Now in my last hours of being here on this planet, I'm saying at this point, and I could change next week, but I'm telling you, I think 80% of the general population are profoundly stupid. They may excel in 1 or 2 areas. I've come across this with the federal court here in Salt Lake City. Judges that I've come up against can be brilliant in a very tight-knit, stereo, pigeonholed area.